attachment, you should have your scissors, your glue, and your reading log, and this sheet out. Okay, I'm going to pass it out to the kids in the class, and I'll be right back up front. Okay, so I'm going to say that again because I want it to be on video so we can look again. Before you start your timer, write the title of the book. Don't forget to underline and capitalize the first letter of each word. Write the author. Write what time you started. In this case, it's 11:15. And then underneath that, write the page you started on. Don't write the end time or the end page because you don't know what that is yet. You haven't read yet. Once you do that, start your timer. Again, you do not have to start writing a summary until September. But once you start writing your summary, do not wait until your 30 minutes is up and then start writing your summary. That's when it gets overwhelming because then you have to remember everything you read and write about it. Read a few paragraphs, maybe a page, maybe even 2 pages if you're getting through it pretty quickly. Write a sentence. So read a couple paragraphs, read a page, whatever, write a sentence. Read a couple more paragraphs, another page, write another sentence, and so on. Write your summary as you're reading. Don't wait till the end to write your summary. You do not have to start summaries until September, but I will tell you more once we get to September. So for now, when you do your reading log, all you have to do is the title of the book, underlined and capitalized, the first letter capitalized, the author, the time you started, and then the page number you started on. Set your timer after 30 minutes or however long. You write the time you ended and the page you ended on. Then you'll write how long you read. This says 20 minutes. You guys must do, you are 4th graders now, so you must do 30 minutes.
We were doing 30 minutes last time.
Oh, okay. Then it's not brand new. You've already been doing this. This will be homework every night unless we have reading homework. If we have reading homework, hands down, I'll give everybody a chance to ask questions in just a minute. If we have reading homework, like vocabulary or something like that, you will not have a reading log. For now, that will be probably every Monday night. The night, it's usually, unless we get off track, which we might, because it takes 5 days to get through a reading chapter. So if we get off track, it'll change. But for now, hopefully we'll stay on track. It'll be every Monday that you will not have a reading log. Reading log starts tonight. So tonight you do have homework. It is a 30-minute reading log. Remember, you will open to the first page. You will write the title of the book on the top line. You will go to the next page. You will write the next line. You will write the author. You will go to the next line. You will write what time you started. Go to the next line. Write what page you started on. Don't forget the date. Sorry, I keep forgetting to say don't forget the date. Set it up exactly like this. Then, once your timer is up, or you finish reading, say you don't want to set a timer because you know you love reading and you want to read for 45 minutes or just until you're done, as long as it's been 30 minutes. Write the time you ended, and then write the page you ended it on. Do not make up a time. Do not say, oh, I'm just going to write 3:30 to 4 and then 30 minutes. I'll be able to tell. Especially once I get to know you guys and I know how fast or how quickly you read, I will be able to tell if you just made up a random time. Do not do that. Time yourself, look at a clock. In the classroom we have this clock. You guys will get really good at reading it. Right now it is an hour ahead, or an hour behind. I need to get Mr. Bruce to help me get it down so that I can fix it. Whatever. So then when you're done, when your timer's up, you write the time you finished and the page number, and then you write how much time it was. This says 20, but you will read at least 30. You can read more than that, all you want, but you will do at least 30. If you are doing your reading log and then you have to stop for some reason, like say you're 10 minutes in and your mom's like, okay, it's time for dinner, end your reading log and then just do another one. All you have to do, you don't even have to rewrite the title. Just say, okay, I read from 5 to 5:15, but then my mom said, oh, it's time for dinner. Okay, well, I'm going to put 5 o'clock and then what page I started on, and then it's 15 minutes later. I'm going to write 5:15 and the page I ended on, And then right underneath, I'm going to say, okay, now it's 6:15 and I can start again. I'm going to write 6:15 and whatever that page is, and then 6:30 and whatever that page is. You don't have to do a whole new section just because you had to take a break. But do write what time you started your break, that's your end time, and then what time you went back to it. Any questions on reading logs? I know that was a little confusing, but as we go, it'll get better. Okay, everybody listen. Zari, you're going to go first, hands down. While somebody is asking their question and it's being answered, your hand goes down. Because if your hand is raised, you're thinking about your question, not listening to what the other people are saying.
And see if it's your...
Exactly, because whatever, like Zari has a question and she gets to go first, well, Zari's question might be Aaron's question. So then because she put her hand down and she stopped thinking about her question and listened to what Zari was saying, she's like, oh, never mind. That answers my question. I don't even have to ask it again. Does everybody get that? Is everybody good with that? Okay, Zari, what's your question?
While we're reading, and if we get to a page and we want to start writing, do you want us to stop our time or keep on going?
Nope. Because writing a sentence
Okay.
shouldn't take very long.
No.
It should only take
Okay.
like 20 seconds.
Oh,
So it really doesn't take any time out of your reading. You're still reading for all of the 30 minutes except for maybe like 1.5 minutes of writing. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yes, you do not have to stop the timer when you're writing. Reading
Okay.
log includes the time you spend reading and the time you spend writing about it. Don't take forever writing about it, because if I see you started on page 1 and then 30 minutes later you were on page 2 and you have a pretty easy book, I'm going to know you dawdled, you spent too much time writing, or you just made up a time. Does everybody understand? Okay, any other questions about reading logs? Victoria.
my question is, so we have to do reading log today, like we read, but first, before we do the stuff in our reading log, but we don't have to write down.
You do not have to do a summary yet. You have to write all this stuff except for the summary. That will start in September, where you will start with 1 to 2 sentences, and then it'll go up to 3 to 5.
What if our parents don't believe us?
What do you mean?
Like, what if our parents say that you're just making that up?
They can ask me, and I'll tell them. Or they can ask each other, and then their child will have said the same thing. But yeah, they can email me. But yes, you do not have to start your summary until September. So you have about 2.5 weeks where you of reading log where you do not have to write a summary. Any other questions on reading logs?
Oh.
Aaron,
Do we just take this on with us?
we're gonna cut it out and we're gonna glue it into our reading log in just a minute. Cullen.
If we want to write a summary, can we?
If you want to write a summary, go right ahead. That's up to you. You can. Smith is very excited to write a summary. Yes. She's like, yes. If you want to write a summary, go right ahead. But remember, spend most of that time reading, like 25 to 28 minutes reading, and like 3 to 5 minutes, or 2 to 5 minutes writing. Do a good summary. Make sure it's good. Make sure you have good, complete sentences. Make sure you have end punctuation. Make sure you have correct capitalization. We will be working on all that as we go. Don't worry. But do your best to write good sentences. Victoria.
You forgot to do Kingston with the summer thing. You forgot to go back to him.
Oh, I did. That's okay. We'll do that later. That's not really important right now, though. So make sure you're staying on topic, okay? Yes, I'm sorry. Let's see. We'll give Carla because she hasn't had a chance yet. So Carla, go ahead. Don't forget to unmute yourself.
I
you
just
do have
found this. It was underneath I Wondered.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Mama got my compass book.
Excellent. Perfect. So you are ready. And then now that you have your supplies, what I want you to do this afternoon at some point, or today when you have some time, is go on my YouTube channel. I can email it again if you need. Go on my YouTube channel and watch the video called Labeling Supplies. And that will tell you exactly how to put your name and what to call everything. And then if you have any questions, you can email me or something like that. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Any other questions? Oh, sorry.
And no run-on sentences at all.
No run-on sentences. Now, you may not understand that you're writing a run-on sentence but by the end of this year, you will know what a run-on sentence looks like.
You keep
Okay.
writing and writing and writing.
Mhm.
Like you
Exactly.
take all your 3 sentences and put them into one.
Any other questions about reading log? Smith, do you have a question or are you just kind of... Okay. Now, what I want you to do is get your scissors and cut along the outside of this box. So you are just cutting out this rectangle. Don't cut along on any of these lines or this, just the outside line.
And this will be cut off.
Yes. This will be cut off, this example of reading log entry. That's okay.
So you can cut the line of the thing, right?
Yes, just cut along this line. Okay, so now we're on to the next step. So take your piece that you just cut out. Don't do it yet. Listen, and then you'll do it. Put glue all over the back of it, and then glue it here. Remember, we put glue, you guys hopefully know this from pre-K and kindergarten and all that. You put glue on the thing that you're gluing, not the thing you're gluing to. Otherwise, you end up with way too much glue. So put the glue on the back of your rectangle, your reading log example. Thank you, Colin, for following directions and waiting until I said go. Awesome. Put the glue on the back of your rectangle example and then glue it right here. And then you can write at the top, reading log example. And I'll write that on the board so you know exactly how to write it. Go.
I'm as full as.
Okay. And this is what you can write above.
And like in Sharpie, my pen.
Do it in pencil because Sharpie will go right through.
What about pen?
For now. Okay, when you're done with that, hold it up to show me that you're done and you've got it glued and you've got it labeled with reading log example. It says READINGLOG, space LOG, space EXAMPLE. But if you need help spelling at home, because I know there's a glare, it says it right there on this piece of paper. Thank you, Zari. Thank you, Michaela. Thank you, Victoria.
Can we put our stuff away?
Not yet. Oh, yes, once you're done with that, you can put your glue and your scissors away, but keep your reading log out. Thank you, Cullen. Thank you, Zadie. Thank you, Smith. Yes, sorry.
Thanks for understanding.
You're welcome. Yeah, that's no problem at all. I get it. It's gonna be tough for a little while. Thank you, Aaron. Okay, yes, once you're done with that, you can put your scissors and your glue away, but leave your reading log out. On my desk. On my desk. On my desk. Here, that's what I'm saying. Yes, Kingston. The other side, on that very first page. Yep, right there. This side. Okay, I forgot to point this out. So notice on that reading log example how they have two. One, this top one. When you do your reading log at school, you need to put the word school right under the date. So it'll say the date, school, and then how long. If you do it at home, it will say the date, home, and then how long you read. Does everybody understand that? So that'll be to the side. You see how there's a pink line going down? Victoria, pay attention. You see how there's a pink line going down the side of each page, even on the back? Thank you, Carla. Even on the back, there's a very faint pink line. On between the inside of the notebook and that pink line is where you put the date, home or school, wherever you did it, and then how long. Then you do your reading log on this side of the pink line.
I think we're going to have to do the first time and then the second time because it's.
No, the time will go just like this. The time will just go right underneath the author on this side of the pink line.
Okay.
You're imagining that this line right here is the pink line. And then this line right here is the top of the page. And then this line is just, you don't have to do one log per page. If you only use like a little piece of the page, you can continue your reading, you can do your next log on the same page. We will use the backs of these reading logs. Otherwise, you will run out of space. The only back you're not going to use is the very first back. Because this is the front of your book. Here's your reading log example. You're not going to use this side. You're just going to start here with tonight's reading log. Any questions on reading log before we move on? Yes, Victoria.
So we write right here. We write the title and
the first
the
line.
time. Wait, this.
You set it up just like that. Do you see how you have the author? Oops, I keep forgetting it's on it. Do you see how you have the author? And then right underneath that is, you have the title, and then right underneath that you have the author, and then right underneath that you have the times, and then right underneath that you have the pages, and then right underneath that you have the summary. You're going to pretend that each one of these, pretend like you see that line. Okay? So you're going to skip lines just like they did here. Okay?
Okay, so
Here,
we're
we'll talk about that later. Okay? Yes. We'll come to me later and I'll show you right up close. Yes, Aaron, quickly.
What if we forget our reading log at school? Do we just take another piece of
If you forget your reading log at school, that means you don't have your materials, which means that you get counted as having no reading log the next day. That's just how it goes. You have to remember to bring your reading log. You have to check that it is your reading log. But your reading log is the only notebook that's in your seat sack. So that's how it will be easy to make sure that you have your reading log. Yes?
So say that you forgot your reading log. Why can't you just take a piece of paper?
Because you do not have all of your materials and you are not ready. Remember the 3 rules: be respectful, be responsible, be ready. Being ready means having all your materials. If you forget your reading log at home, at school, or at home, do you have all your materials?
No.
So are you following the rules?
No.
Nope. Nope. So, if you forget your reading log at school, you get counted the next day as not having a reading log. But again, you have lots of reading logs, so one time is not a big deal. Over and over and over again becomes a big deal. The way I grade reading logs is every morning when you have, so for kids at school, every morning when you have your math book out, you will also have your reading log out and open to last night's reading log. When I come around to check independent practice, I will also be checking reading logs. I will be checking to see if it's done. It will be on your desk. You do not bring it to me. I will check to see if it's done. I will put a star on it if it's correct, if you read enough, and I will skim your summary once you write it and your summary is good and I can tell that you read it. If you forget it, I will write in your notebook, no reading log, this date. Every day I will keep track. Who had their reading log? Who didn't? Everybody has one freebie a month where they forget their reading log. They have one freebie a month. Yes, sorry, I'll get you in just a second. I will have a chart where I have checked off. At the end, I will do another average. Say that there are 14 reading logs in 1 month, but you completed 10 of them. That means I average them. Wait, okay, hold on, I can't. I can't do that on the board because it's lots of decimals and it's going to confuse you. So, if you complete 10 out of the 13 reading logs that were due that month, that means at the end of the month, your August reading log score will be a 77. But remember, you get one freebie. So if you forget your reading log once,
That's fine.
it's not going to affect your grade. If you forget it more than once, that's where it might start affecting your grade. Or if you do it, but you forget the summary. Once we get further in the year, if you don't set it up correctly, like you forget the date, you forget to write the times, whatever, it counts as no reading log. Because that's after Christmas, and by after Christmas, you should know exactly how to set up a reading log. Does everybody understand how I grade reading logs? Any questions about how I grade reading logs? Zari, what was your question from earlier?
You answered it.
I answered it already? Okay, cool. Zadie, what's your question?
Well, my grandmother won't let me turn in my reading log unless she checks it.
That's fine. But you guys are going to get to the point where you are self-checkers, where your parents don't really have to check.
But what if they don't let us?
I'll be talking to them about that. Because you guys are starting to build your independence. Because next year, what are you going to be in?
Fifth grade.
Which is what?
Middle school.
Middle school. Middle schoolers need to do things for themselves. So we are building that independence now. So you need to be self-checkers. I don't mind if your parents check, but you need to start getting into the habit of being a self-checker. That means you check your answers. And you check, so that by the time your parents even look at it, they're like, oh, you're fine, you're good, you did it. Yes, Cullen.
What if you don't use your pass?
If you don't use your pass, you get an extra point on your reading log grade for that month. If you do not use your freebie, you get it. So like say you did every single one, that means you have a 100. You did not use your freebie, that means you have a 101 for your reading log grade for that month. Yes.
So you get a freebie every month, only one.
Only one freebie a month. Also,
But
there will be days where you don't have to do a reading log for whatever reason. If you decide to do a reading log anyway, you get an extra freebie.
ooh,
That means at the end of the month, if you have 2 freebies, instead of getting a 100 or a 101, your reading log grade will be a 102. Okay? Does that make sense?
ooh.
Kids at home are very excited about this. Yes.
So what if there's like a no week of school, but you still do reading logs?
Oh, holidays. There are optional holiday reading logs. That means you read every school day of that holiday. That means you get an extra 100. Like you don't get 100 extra points, it just works out that you have an extra grade, which means when I average everything, it really helps your grade. Okay? But that'll only be long breaks. Like fall break, there won't be one. Thanksgiving break, I think, is a week, so there will be a Thanksgiving break reading log. So that means if you come back from Thanksgiving break and you have 5 reading logs, you get that extra Thanksgiving break 100. But you have to have 5. If you have 4, sorry. Christmas, if you have 10 reading logs, because it's 2 weeks, that's 1 a day for 2 weeks. 1 a
So
school day
10
for 2 weeks. You get that extra 100, and then spring break. So there is a Thanksgiving break reading log, a Christmas break reading log, and a spring break reading log. Extra, but it's extra. You don't have to do it. But if you do, you get an extra 100.
This is
Yes, Colleen, quickly.
For the Christmas one, can you just do 1 week and not do the other week?
You have to do both. You have to have all 10. That means you have to have read for a total of 300 minutes. But if you do 30 minutes a day, that's how much you read in 2 weeks anyway if you do your reading log. Because it's 30 minutes a day for 10 days.
That way
30
we'll go
times 10 is
faster.
300. You'll see that when we get into...
That way we'll go faster with our book, and we don't have to like keep staring at our book for like a whole year.
Yeah. Yes, Kingston, did you have a question? No? Okay. Any other questions about reading log? Okay. Now, the reading curriculum that we're doing. We'll start this on Monday because it works better if we have a Monday to Friday. So for the next few days for reading, I'll just be reading wholes. But you still have to do a reading log. So reading curriculum. What we do, we will have, Ethan, please sit up and pay attention. Just don't worry about it right now. Don't worry about it right now. We can work, we'll figure that out later, okay? Reading log curriculum. We will be doing 2 novel studies this year, maybe a 3rd in spring. We only ever got to that, I think, once. Maybe we did. No, I don't think we've ever gotten to a 3rd in spring, but I always have a 3rd one planned if we have some extra time. But we haven't yet. So, in the fall, so in October, we will start Wonder. And we will do that probably, well, definitely all of October and probably all of November and maybe a little bit into December. So that'll be our first novel study. That will look a little different than our regular reading, but we'll talk more about that later. In February, we will start our novel study on the Phantom Tollbooth. That will last for all of February and probably all of March. Maybe a little into April. Yes, Zari.
What if you don't have your Wonder book?
That's okay.
I'm just asking.
You have till October,
That's
so
good.
you're good. You have until October to buy Wonder. You have until February to buy the Phantom Tollbooth. So if you don't have it yet, you're perfectly all right. Now, regular reading curriculum, when we're not doing a novel study, we'll be using, awesome, Smith. Good job. Regular reading curriculum. And Zara, you've got it. Yep. You just asked that question, you have it. But for anybody who doesn't have it yet, you have till October. Ethan, sit up, please. We'll worry about it later, I promise. We'll worry about it later. For regular reading curriculum, we'll be using our Treasures textbook. Mondays, hopefully we will stay like this. We might get off track and it won't be the same days, but we'll still do the same order. The first day of the chapter, we do the bulk of the vocabulary for a chapter. The bulk of the vocabulary means not every single bit of the vocabulary, but most of the vocabulary for the chapter. And then we'll read, and then I will introduce whatever concept we are working on, like author's purpose, main idea and supporting details, theme, genre, all that stuff. Monday will be, I will introduce the vocabulary, I will introduce the theme for the week. Or the skill for the week. Then we will read a short story from our textbook. And we'll read that all in one day. And you guys will help me read. Girls at home, you can help me read too. I'll pick your stick. I'll say, who's number 10? I don't remember who number 10 is. Oh, Colin, please read this page, or please read for us. And then wherever we left off, you'll read. You'll only read for 1 or 2 paragraphs, depending on how long it is. That's it. And then I will pick the next one. So that means girls at home, you can do that too. So if I pick your stick, like say I have number 6, that's Kingston, so he's here. Number 8, I have to get the numbers straight before I do them. So say I pick number 5, which is Smith. You'll just unmute yourself, read for 1 or 2 paragraphs until I say, thank you, Smith. And then you'll mute yourself, you'll unmute yourself, read the paragraph or 2, then you'll mute yourself again. Yes, Zari.
What if the people in the class can't hear us?
They can hear you. Can you guys hear them?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can hear you. You'll just have to read loud, but I have the speakers up pretty loud, and I think I'm going to look into getting some speakers that I can plug into my computer so that it's a little louder.
Okay.
But we'll make sure that that works. Yeah, so that's what we'll do Mondays. Monday nights, or the night that we start the new chapter, if it's not a Monday, you will have vocabulary homework and a skill homework. It'll be front and back. The front will be vocabulary, the back will be whatever skill. The vocabulary is usually, it changes. A lot of times it's fill in the blank, whatever. But that's what your vocabulary notebook is for. You will write the vocabulary words and the definition. At first, I will be giving you the definitions for each word. Later on in the year, you will be finding the definitions yourself in the glossary of your textbook. The glossary is just the dictionary that's in the back of your textbook. But for the first semester at least, maybe longer, I will be giving you the definitions for the vocabulary, and you will be copying them into your vocabulary notebook. And you'll take that home so that you have it to do your homework. On the back will be the skills homework. You'll have a paragraph to read, and then you'll answer questions on it based on whatever reading skill we're working on that week. So if we're working on author's purpose, the questions about the passage on the back of your homework will be all about author's purpose. That'll be your Monday night homework instead of a reading log. The rest of the week, you'll have a reading log. Tuesdays, what we will do is I will introduce a couple more vocabulary words, not many, and I will define them for you, and then we will read the first half of the long story in the chapter. We will also be filling out some kind of chart or a web or something based on whatever the skill is that we're working on that week, but we'll be doing that together. We will pause, I will ask you questions, we will fill it out together. Then on Wednesday, or the day after that, we will finish the long story. We will do the second half of the long story. And again, we will finish the chart, web, table, whatever we're working on. Then on Thursdays, sometimes it will be poetry and you will write your own poem. Most of the time, it will be working on reading some kind of thing that you might find, like tables, maps, charts, online articles, that kind of thing. And then, so we will talk about that. We will read a short little something. Sometimes it'll be a magazine article. Sometimes it'll be another story. Sometimes it'll be a poem. And then for the rest of the class, you'll work on some independent practice. That might be writing your own poem. Most of the time it will be reading a chart, online article, whatever we're working on that day, and then answering questions about it. Friday. Every Friday will be a reading comprehension quiz. That means there is some vocabulary, so I would probably take your vocabulary notebook home on Thursday night and just make sure that you know what all the words mean. You do not have to spell them. Spelling is different. Spelling is completely different. I'm working on how to do that now because I might have to do it a little differently than I have the past few years. But we'll see. We'll worry about that next week. So vocabulary, you do not have to know how to spell them. You just need to be able to look at the word, know that it's this word, and know what it means. There is a little bit of vocabulary on the quiz, but not a whole lot. There's like maybe 2 or 3 questions about vocabulary, and it is multiple choice. Most of the quiz will be, you will have a passage, a brand new passage, so you don't have to study the story. You will have a brand new passage, and you will answer questions based on that brand new passage. There are 3, 4, or 5, depending on the quiz, questions about the passage, multiple choice questions, and then there is a critical thinking question. That means it's going to give you a question, and then you write sentences. At least 2 sentences to answer the question. We will start that next week. There is not much studying because all you have to do is make sure you can recognize the vocabulary, and you won't be able to study for the comprehension part because it's going to be a brand new passage you've never read before. Then there will be a little bit of grammar. There will be like 3 or 4 questions on whatever grammar concept we talked about that week. So on Thursday nights, you can also bring your grammar notebook home to look over it. You don't need much. Normally what happens is kids study for about 10 minutes before the quiz, and then they're fine. Okay? The quiz is not scary. A quiz is not a test. It is not super long. It is not scary. If we have time after that, we will work on some kind of writing thing. Oh gosh, it's time for specials, but whatever. If we have time, we'll work on some kind of writing thing. We may not have time, though.
Wait, you're going to a special today?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean specials. If we have time, we'll work on some kind of writing thing, but we normally don't have time. It's pretty rare that we have time, but sometimes we do, and it's fun. They're fun, but we don't have to do them. Okay, any questions about the reading curriculum? It will change when we get to novel studies, but we'll talk more about that in October. Kingston, what's your question? Okay, well, you can ask me in a little while. Okay. Carla. Oh, don't forget to unmute yourself.
Is there a passcode and the manual that lets you go into a class.
Uh-huh.
Is there a password for specials?
I'm not sure. If they did not send you did they send you an invitation to a Zoom meeting? They did? Okay. If they did not send you something, then there isn't one. If they did, check your email, because I am not sure about that. But I will say, okay, Zari and Smith, I'll take your questions really quick, and then we do have to go because the special, if there is one, will be starting. Zari, what's your question?
My mom told me I have a Zoom meeting.
For specials? For, I think, today's music? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so just go back and check your email and see what that is. If you don't have it, don't worry about it, because Dr. Nix is really just doing that for me so that I have a break. Smith, yes.
My mom did get the invitation for music, so I will be on.
Okay, cool. And then, Carla, did you have another question? Carla, did you have another question? Okay. Okay, any other quick questions about reading? And we'll talk more about it. If you think of something, you can either have your parents email me or you can ask me tomorrow during reading. Yes.
Can we put our reading logs up?
Yes, you may put your reading logs away. Okay, Zoom girls, I'll see you this afternoon. You'll see the class in a few minutes for music, but I'll see you this afternoon